Hello, and welcome to Let My People Eat, a podcast that provides satisfying talk about kosher nutrition. Here we clear through the clutter of nutrition speak, arm you with the clarity and confidence to eat, feel, and be your healthiest every day. I am Jill Scharfman, a board-certified holistic nutritionist living in Los Angeles.
And I'm Dr. Andrea Moskowitz, a neuroscientist and psychiatrist in Los Angeles. I use my training and experience to integrate positive lifestyle changes into my patients' lives.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, Jill. How's it going?
It's going okay. It's summertime here in LA. I have a question for you. Do you change your eating for the seasons? I know people say in LA we don't really have seasons, but I definitely notice a shift in seasons. Do you change your eating habits?
I think somewhat I do. I tend to go lighter. So, and also because seasonally, there's more fruit available. There's different kinds of vegetables available. Tomatoes are coming out. So I do try to eat seasonally, period. Right. So that by itself changes it. And I feel like I have like more of a craving for salads, for cold, like drinks or iced tea versus hot tea. Those kind of things. How about you?
So yes, I definitely do. I love soup. So in the winter, I'm having soup probably every day, but in the summertime, I definitely have changed. But we're going to talk about a little bit why maybe we should be having soup and hot drinks in the summertime. They can change. It might be different. It may not be a butternut squash soup, but maybe it's a good idea to have hot beverages and hot soups during the summer as well. Today joining us is Tehila Weidenbaum. She's a holistic health coach at Weidenbaum Wellness Center. The center answers the question of how do you live a healthy life in an unhealthy world? And they address this through their 6 steps to wellness, a comprehensive program and the result of 35 years of intensive research to help provide you with the keys to better health. Tehila is certified through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and she teaches patients at the Wellness Center how to effectively change their lives through the power of food. Hi, Tehila.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Andrea.
So Andrea and I were talking about eating, and we know generally that the U.S. population, 20% of them never eat vegetables, 40% rarely consume fruit or fruit juices, or they're not eating, whole grains or high fiber foods. And this is really not a good situation for our nation at large. So I feel like summertime is the best time to get people to try and include more fruits and vegetables into their diets and try and just create a healthier lifestyle. So what we want to talk to you about today is just our kind of summer toolbox, because we're going to go into the summer now. We want to give people ideas of what to eat, what to drink, other things, tips and tools that they can use so that they have a healthier summer ahead of them. So let's talk about number 1. I think you'd agree, hydration.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important in the summer.
Okay. So why is hydration more important in the summer than, let's say, in the colder months?
Well, because we let out a lot of our water through sweat, especially in the summer. So we want to keep extra hydrated. Let's make sure your cells are hydrated and your body's fully hydrated.
Yes. So when we drink water, it helps to lower our core body temperature. So if we're hot, that's a very easy way to lower our core body temperature. We could have things like also coconut water or herbal tea. You might want to add some mint because mint already gives you that frosty feeling. So Andrea, you were talking about you don't have so many hot drinks. You have colder drinks. But what's so interesting is when you have super cold drinks, your body cools down and then it has to bring you up to your temperature. So it actually is creating more heat in your system. So it's a mug of tea on a stifling summer day might be better than actually having a big cold icy drink. Is that interesting?
Well, I don't put ice in my drinks.
Okay.
I hate ice in my drinks. So my drinks are probably cool rather than cold, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I don't do ice either because I feel like it interrupts the tea. So I don't do ice either, but that idea was kind of like just turned everything upside down. So Tehila, let's talk about cooling foods, like what we would call cooling foods in the nutrition business.
Yeah, so like fruits like watermelon, vegetables like cucumber. I would consider more like the nightshades and the underground vegetables as more as the not cooling foods. I would stick to like cucumbers are great, watermelon's great, melons are great. Those are going to hydrate you also, and they're cooling as well.
Okay, so let's define nightshades because not everybody may know what nightshades are. Nightshades are eggplants, potatoes, peppers. I'm missing one.
Tomatoes.
What was? Tomatoes.
Did you say
Yes.
tomatoes? Yeah.
Tomatoes are the big one. Yes. So, go ahead.
Those are also inflammatory, and when it comes to summer, you definitely want to stick to more anti-inflammatory diet because our systems are also a little bit aflame from the heat of the summer. So you definitely want to stick with anti-inflammatory foods in the summertime.
Okay, so as Tehila was saying, melons, cherries, grapes, pears, mango, again, coconut water. There are also some spices that are cooling like dill and coriander. So some of the things, here are just some ideas of things you could do. You have cucumbers and celery you can have with hummus, which would be a good kind of snack. Strawberries, papaya, and mango are just great, juicy, kind of a good dessert. Pineapple's great because it has bromelain in it, which will help combat heat and inflammation in your body too. The melons, watermelon, honeydew, cantaloupe, you can add them to fizzy water. And things like pears and apples, you can put into almond butter. And there's some great vegetables that you can grill as well.
So I have a quick question. We're talking about cooling foods. So, in a lot of countries that are hot year round, people tend to eat very spicy foods. Not salty, but spicy. Things with hot peppers and such. So is that cooling? I'm just curious.
So I actually have the answer for you. It actually sounds counterintuitive that you're going to eat something spicy, but like you said, India, Mexico, Ethiopia, they tend to eat very spicy food. So how does that work? It actually can cool you down because spicy foods trigger a nerve receptor in your tongue called TRPV1, which makes it feel heat. And once your mouth detects heat, then your body responds and it starts to sweat. So those spices are very popular in those worlds because it actually is turning on the body's cooling system. But yeah, did you a follow up?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so before I mentioned another snack option, yes. I wanted to check with that. So one snack option is on any melon, especially like watermelon or cantaloupe, is to put a little like chili powder and a little lime, and it tastes delicious.
That's true. So
it's very cool.
But Tehila, like you were saying, so there's the one route you could take the spicy foods, but then there's the other route where you want to avoid things like the nightshades or the warming spices and not heat up your body, correct?
Yeah, I mean, and processed foods or sugary foods, those in general that will also inflame your system in the summer.
Yeah, because people go to like ice cream, but because the body has to process all the saturated fat and the sugar, you actually could be raising your core body temperature in order to process all that. So I just found while I was researching this, I was like, we're supposed to drink hot tea and not have ice cream during the summer.
Well, I would say more like room temperature. I wouldn't say hot tea or something with ice. I would definitely suggest more like room temperature or something like that.
Right. So what other foods would you recommend? So lots of salads.
Yeah, more like the salads, the fruits, the raw veggies. I would definitely stick to more raw if you're okay with raw in the summer.
Why would people not be okay with raw?
A lot of people have a hard time digesting all those enzymes that are in raw foods.
Right. So there are some obviously that are easily eaten raw, like lettuce. Probably, right?
Yeah, lettuce is a good one. Spinach is a good one. That's why I like to recommend salads in the summer because it has a lot of the cooling foods like the cucumber, spinach, lettuce. Especially lettuce actually has a lot of water in it.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to like broccoli, cauliflower, probably.
Because those are like inflammatory.
Hard to eat. Hard to eat raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are hard. Yeah.
So food, we know we want to eat cooling foods, not warming foods. Let's talk now a little bit about skin protection. So when we're heading out now into the sun obviously is a lot hotter than it is in December. What do we do about sunscreen? Because we want to protect ourselves, but there's some issues with sunscreen.
Yeah, so sunscreens have pretty toxic ingredients. They have oxybenzone, isolates, phthalates. They just have toxic ingredients that the idea of sunscreen obviously is correct, but then when you think about all those ingredients that are in it that are toxic, you're like, where do I really turn? One of the best healthy sunscreens I would suggest is zinc oxide, which actually helps you absorb vitamin D from the sun, which is really good because as much as we're out in the sun, we don't always absorb all the vitamin D from it. Hyaluronic acid is also a really good sunscreen. I definitely go to zinc oxide.
Right, because there are a lot of sunscreen chemicals that are approved to use in the United States. They're not necessarily approved in Europe. There are different rules in Europe, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of the stuff we have here, including pesticides and ingredients and the hormones they give the cows, are definitely all banned in Europe, but okay here, which I always think is so crazy. How come the U.S. they're okay and not in Europe, which is the rest of the world? Right.
Well, I'm sure if we really look into it, we could probably figure out the reasons why.
Of course, but I still think it's crazy.
Right. So one of the things that when we start to use the other chemicals that are present in most of the sunscreens that we can buy in any of the drugstores, there is potential for like some hormone disruption. So we have to definitely be careful using it on our kids. And so so you said you recommend products with zinc oxide. Is there anything particular that you recommend? Any products that you specifically like?
For zinc oxide, I really like the company Badger, and I think there's another one, Babo, B-A-B-O. I never know how to pronounce it. Hyaluronic acid, I actually sell a hyaluronic acid sunscreen and moisturizer that goes like, at the wellness center, goes like crazy. I have to make so many of them. They go like crazy because we do talk about, non-toxic ingredients to our patients all the time. So they're like, okay, you're telling me about non-toxic sunscreen. Give me one. So,
right. So your product works just as well as, a regular something you would buy in the drugstore. I mean, are there any other precautions that you have to make? Or do you tell your patients, okay, put it on, but only stay out for 20 minutes? Is there any guidelines?
I tell them to reapply it, but reapply probably maybe every 2-3 hours. But no, I wouldn't say there's any other precautions. I mean, I definitely will tell them if let's say you're going to the beach, I would say definitely use a combination of the hyaluronic acid and zinc oxide.
Interesting. And then if somebody does unfortunately get a burn, there's aloe vera gel, which would be very good and very soothing for the skin. Okay, what about hay fever? Because now, during spring, people's allergies tend to get worse. What do you recommend at the wellness center for people who come to you and they're complaining about allergies?
Right. So we obviously tell them right away to we ask them, to make sure it's not like, if you have carpet, make sure that's clean, make sure you dust well. We have a supplement we recommend, an antihistamine supplement. But, we say for driving, just make sure the windows are closed because, all those, all the pollen comes straight in. Obviously stay hydrated, which helps as well.
So vitamin C is a natural antihistamine. So I'm sure that's a good idea, something that you'd recommend.
We actually recommend rosehip because that has, rosehip and cherry actually have the most vitamin C.
And wear sunglasses when you're going outside to protect your eyes if the pollen levels are bad. I know now also people are putting a little lip balm under their nose kind of to trap the pollen from getting inside. Something else I've heard recently, which we've been doing, is having local honey. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, so the Manuka honey is really good. And also bee pollen is really good to help with that as well.
Yeah, they say to have the local honey because the bees have taken the honey from the plants that you're being exposed to. So if you're eating local honey, and it's not really hard to find, it becomes easier to hopefully battle some of those allergies that you may be suffering from. It's not fun. It's really not. Okay, let's talk about bug bites because that's another summer something that we have to deal with during the summer. I mean, here in LA, the mosquitoes are horrible, horrible. So what do you recommend for bug bites?
I mean, if you're sitting around outside, I would say use some sort of citronella. You can make like a spray out of citronella oil or something like that. That definitely helps the bugs stay away. I have a essential oil, a blend in a roller that has citronella and other stuff in it. That helps. But definitely I would say don't hang out near a marshy area or something like that. Get inside when it starts to get dark outside. That's when mosquitoes come.
So Andrea, you use citronella, right? To keep away mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used it for years.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to spray my kids with toxic chemicals.
Right. Yes.
So, and it works. It works.
Does.
You have to reapply. And, as you said, I mean, part of it also is mosquitoes come out around marshy areas or, no standing water. I know it's hard if you have a swimming pool, but if you can put a cover on it, don't leave don't leave water in those wading pools and then sit out by it because it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So as much as possible to take away their area where they like to live. And then also not to sit out at dusk if you can avoid it, because that's when they come out. I mean, most of us aren't out as the sun is rising, which is another time they come out. And then also there's physical protection. Like if you're going to sit out, if you can avoid it. So don't sit out in like some loose flowy skirt, put some leggings on underneath it, try and cover yourself so that there's less surface area for the mosquitoes to attack.
Yeah, it's true. You can do all that. Somehow I still am always the one. I could be sitting right next to Aubrey, my husband, and I'll come in with 3 mosquito bites and he'll be totally fine. It just irks me, but I don't know why. One of the other things you could do is eat a lot of garlic because garlic is actually a natural insect repellent. So if you want to eat garlic, I happen to love garlic. Of course, that means your breath's going to smell, and you may not be attractive to anyone, let alone the mosquitoes. But garlic's another option. Other essential oils. So we talked about citronella, but cinnamon oil, lemon, rose, geranium, eucalyptus, and lavender all are also supposed to be anti-bug. Just make sure you dilute them before you apply them to the skin. And if you're pregnant, you should also talk to somebody like Tehila about whether or not you should be using essential oils. I was also reading, which I like, you can put the essential oils in a diffuser and plug it in outside if you're somewhere near an outlet, which to me sounds great because I have those citronella candles, but I'm not sure they work all that well. So I'm going to try the diffuser definitely outside. Okay, so what else can we do, Tila? What other things can we do to protect ourselves this summer?
Well, I think in the summer for bug bites or just protection?
Just in general, just things that you would recommend to your patients at the clinic.
Yeah, sunscreen, wear a hat. If it's buggy out, definitely leggings, longer sleeves. You probably will get bites other places like your face, but you mentioned the garlic before. I don't necessarily recommend the garlic just because I've dealt with enough patients over the years that the first thing I get when I try to say garlic is like, no, I'm not smelling like garlic. So that's why I just don't recommend it because this is people just protest against it. Like, no, not trying it. So I actually have a bug spray that I use for my dogs, who are actually scratching on the door now. I use for my dogs that has cinnamon, has clove, it has citronella. I kind of have to be careful when it comes to essential oils for animals, but that works really well for them, especially in natural protection, because they have, toxic stuff also for animals. So that helps for them. So I would spray myself with citronella and cinnamon when I go outside in the dark.
Do you use the same one that you use for the dogs?
I dilute it a lot more for them because essential oils really aren't so safe for dogs. So I just have to, some are okay. I just really have to be careful when it comes to that.
I gave Indy some, I know I'm getting off topic from a Bach flower remedy the other night because there's been, in LA, there's just been a lot of activity, a lot of helicopters, a lot of noises at night. And we just pulled out the rescue remedy for dogs to help him.
Yeah, I have that, yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who have dogs out there, just know that a lot of the things that we can do, they can do, but always consult with somebody before you give it to your dog. The other thing that's out there, and I'm not sure how much we can get into it, but Lyme disease tends to be, people are out more, they're hiking now. Is it the same type of protection, like covered, like Andrea, you were saying, like people need to be covered, but are there other things people can do to protect themselves from Lyme?
We do the cinnamon for ticks. We always, when it comes to ticks, we say, once you take it out, just know the date of when you took it out and then do a blood test about 6 weeks later to, just to see if it came out as Lyme. Not everyone saves the bug or whatever, to test that, but, you won't see anything until about 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing really to do if you get do it until you find out if it's Lyme or something.
Where you are, I'm guessing you must see Lyme or ticks or people.
Yeah, like if someone tells us, okay, I got ticks 6 weeks ago, I just did a blood test, it came out with Lyme, it's a pretty early stage. People have it for like 2 years before they realize. They only develop symptoms later because the more it gets into your bloodstream and your cells and everything, you get more symptoms later on. So yeah, we treat it right away. We obviously have my father at the Wellness Center has a whole protocol, but we right away start with foot bath, sauna, and then all these different Lyme tinctures and things that he does.
Because the sauna therapy helps remove toxins just in general, like anybody can do it. But it will help the Lyme disease symptoms if they're able to release some of those toxins sooner rather than later. So you're saying with Lyme disease, like early detection, like a lot of things, is very important to help treat it successfully.
Yeah, because it gets into your cells. So the way the sauna works is that it opens up your blood vessels, so it can kind of pull it out of the cell, so that the treatments will work a lot better. So we use that as part of it. So
interesting. Okay, very good. Any other tips that you want to leave our audience with? Summer or not even summer related? Anything?
Well, one tip I always give is read labels. I'm very big on that because you can look at something, it'll say natural, and you look in the ingredients and there's natural flavors. That can mean MSG, that can mean so many different things, food coloring, I don't know. So natural doesn't mean anything. Certified organic is a good thing to see, and then look at the ingredients.
Yeah, it's true. Andrea, we should probably do something on ingredients and reading labels too.
Yeah,
right. We should. Yeah, I think we should. The other thing I wanted to bring up, this is a little bit off, but just for parents and everything. And, look, summer is a time, even nowadays, it's a time to relax. We're not on our winter schedule and everything, but at least the beginning of August, and who knows what everyone's schedule will look like in the fall. We don't really know, but especially with younger kids, but even with middle school and teens, try not to let their sleep schedule get so discombobulated during the summer that it's going to take weeks to get them back. What I'm talking about is, a lot of times I deal with teens and they're like, oh, it's the summer. I'm going to bed at 3 a.m. and I'm waking up at 2 p.m. and I'm like, oh gosh, because it takes a long time to really fix that so that you don't put somebody into a tailspin in terms of their immune functioning and everything else. So as much as possible, give them some, like maybe they can go to, the teens go to bed at midnight, and get up at 9, but not so off that you've really like flipped your days and things like that, because that's not healthy either.
Yeah. And things right now, particular because we're still in the COVID crisis, I feel like people's schedules have totally gone out the window because they don't have to get up. They don't have to be anywhere specific. Now, we just heard recently, day camps are going to open, but a lot of parents are upset because summer camps are not going to open. So yeah, I think you're right that it's good to always try and keep a schedule because it's easier to keep to that schedule as closely as possible than have to pull it back as they get closer to school. But, yeah, it's a tough time right now. And I think routine actually would be very helpful to a lot of people in keeping it. So good point. Thanks, Andrea. Okay, Tila. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. So if you want to contact the Weidenbaum Wellness Center, you can go to their website, weidenbaumwellnesscenter.com. You can also follow Tila on Instagram at Be Healthy, Stay Healthy. I will put links to the products that she spoke about on the website. So go to letmypeopleeat.com so you can check those out. Also follow me on Instagram at Jill Scharfman. And I want to thank our engineer, Mike Casantini at the Network Studios. So thank you so much, Tila. I appreciate you coming on and talking about these tips for summer.
Thank you so much.
We wish you a good summer. Bye.
Bye.
And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Please visit our website at letmypeopleeat.com and leave us a comment. Get in touch at our email at podcast@letmypeopleeat.com or call us at 317-659-0004. Post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the hashtag #LetMyPeopleEatPodcast. If you like this show, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Tell your friends and family and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts.
And please remember that although we are certified professionals, this is not a medical advice podcast. No content, posts, or comments should be interpreted as professional guidance. Always speak to your own health practitioner about making the right life changes for you.
Until next time, I am Jill Scharfman.
And I am Andrea Moskowitz.
Thanks for joining us.
And go in good health.